welcome to Tar Heel Teachers at Home. I'm Marlow Artist. I'm the moderator of the program and proud principal of Craven Early College High School in New Bern. Tar Heel Teachers at Home is an interview series focused on engaging North Carolinians in conversations around education. Each week, I'm happily joined by a wonderful panel of educators, each one representing a particular subsection of education. We'll start our introductions with our elementary school co-host.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Tart, and I'm the assistant principal at Union Elementary School in Sampson County Schools.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Mejia. I'm the NCAT 2023 Empower North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade ML students at C.C. Griffin STEM Middle School, and you can follow me on Twitter at Natalia P. Mejia.
Good evening, I'm Tanya Smith. I'm the vocal music educator at Elkin High School and Elkin Middle School, and I'm the 2020 Piedmont Triad Region Burroughs Welcome Fund Teacher of the Year.
Awesome. For this special episode of Tar Heel Teachers at Home, we are chatting with Beckie Spears, who is the 2024 Wells Fargo, North Carolina Principal of the Year. She is the principal of Wilkesboro Elementary School in Wilkes County. Beckie, welcome to Tar Heel Teachers at Home.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you on the program. So, Beckie, take us into Friday's event, the big announcement, what you called a wow moment. So, what was going through your mind Friday?
Well, it was truly a wow moment for me. This whole process has just been so wonderful and just felt so special and honored. And it was just such an honor to be part of it throughout the whole year. But on Friday, it felt very celebratory. It felt we were great leaders, great people there, joined together, supported by so many people in such a beautiful setting. It was just an opportunity that educators truly don't experience to get to celebrate that, particularly with your family and the people that you love. And so for me, sitting there to see my school showcased in that format, that was just very touching to me, and to see our students. And I was very proud of that moment. And so it was very special throughout the whole day. And when she said my name, I really, really was not expecting that outcome on Friday. And so I was very much surprised. And so that made for a true wow moment for me.
It really was very special. I was very happy to be in the room and to witness it up close, to see you being recognized with your family. I mean, your mom was there, your girls, your husband, your mentor, I mean, your superintendent. You had a lot of support at the table. And that's one of the things that's really paramount at Wilkesboro Elementary, the support. It's not a I, it's not a you, it's a we. Tell us about Wilkesboro Elementary School.
You nailed it right there. Our school name, Wilkesboro Elementary School, makes the word we. And that has been a beautiful way to think about our school. Wilkesboro Elementary School is a community elementary school. We're a Title I school. We serve a diverse population and a pretty large population. We're about 400 students. We're fairly diverse economically and ethnically, and a lot of different languages spoken. We have a lot of first-year students this year. And so the community that we serve is very different than the community that I grew up in Wilkesboro. And so getting to know our community, what their needs are, is something that's kind of evolved over the past 5 years. One of the best things that happened, I think, as a result of COVID-19 was that we got closer to our families and we understood more of what they were facing. And I think our families also learned more about what educators do. And it kind of created this mutual respect that allowed us to consider, who are we and what do we want to be? And so our mission is to empower all learners to reach their greatest potential. And so we consider ourselves a community of learners, and that's our students, but it's also the adults. It's our teachers, it's our support staff, it's their parents. And we very much work together to take a family approach the supporting the needs of the whole child, and making sure that that child is getting the best education they can in a space that is one where they feel like they belong and are celebrated and valued. And so that's what we're trying to create at Wilkesboro Elementary.
And you're such an integral part of that, Becky. I mean, having been a student at Wilkesboro Elementary, a parent, an educator, a teacher, now serving as principal. I mean, you've had all the roles that you could have at a school in different levels. I mean, that's really, really special, and it's really great to be able to see that. So, Becky, tell us about your journey to education. What prompted you to become an educator, and then what made you make that shift into administration?
Well, I tell people I never wanted to be a teacher, and that is factually true. When I was in the 10th grade, my high school English teacher, Mrs. Andrews, invited me to apply for a Phi Delta Kappa program that was at Indiana University. And at the time, I didn't really want to be a teacher, and I told her so. And she said, "Oh, but this is a great program. You have all the gifts. I thought, just go see what it's like." And so I did. I applied, and it was a national program. I got to fly by myself for the first time to Indiana. And it still blows my mind that I did that at that age. But what I found there was just a community of people who were passionate, who were on fire, wanting to change the world and be the best, most engaged that they can be in a community. And also, I learned a lot about the world that was a lot bigger than the one I'd grown up in. So when I came back to Wilkes County, I had that fire in my belly, and it kind of rumbled for a bit. And I was fortunate to become a North Carolina teaching fellow and make my way to Meredith College, where they made sure that we got only not the excellent education that a Meredith College student gets, but also lots of opportunities to be in classrooms early. So from my very first semester in college, I was in a classroom. They also took a great amount of time and resources to invest in us in learning opportunities. So with other North Carolina teaching fellows, we saw plays, we traveled some together. I saw an opera when I was there at Meredith. And I really came out of school having this really whole, really rich background in the humanities. And I felt very empowered to be a teacher. I started my career in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, where I taught 9th grade English. My first 2 years were in a Paideia program, and that community, those students, they will always have just a chunk of my heart that is just for them. That program was integrated with history and English, and so the civics was the history at the time that students were studying. And so it was very rich opportunity. I always tell people that I should pay North Carolina back for those years, because I didn't know as much as I expected. But those children are always special to me. And I also was supported by lots of other colleagues. In that year, I think we had 27 beginning teachers, which is kind of mind-blowing in one place. Wow. That number sticks in my memory. And so we were all young and new, and that made us willing to try things, innovative. And so I made some close friends and had some really good supports. The assistant principal there and the counselor and our reading teacher at the time really helped me to grow and to be a better teacher. So by the time I made it back to Wilkes County and was a classroom teacher here, started in 8th grade and worked my way down all the way to 1st grade. I have met my match. Kindergarten, I don't know that I could tackle that beast. But in the classroom, one of the things that I adored, and I was a classroom teacher a really long time, for 17 years. One of the things that I adored was that ability to create this learning community. And I took pains then to include parents, and I really enjoyed getting to know the children, to find their strengths, to help them grow. And I really, really enjoyed teaching children how to read and what to do with those reading and writing skills once they had them. I loved that family affair of it. And that's why I stayed in the classroom such a long time. And after a while, I became an instructional coach for 2 years. And that was the year that we were rolling out Common Core, the legislation for the initial Read to Achieve launch. That's when we started in class DIBELS. And all of that rolled at the time I was an instructional coach. And so for those 2 years, I began to understand the role that a principal plays on the impact of a classroom teacher. And so I wanted to impact that bigger community, but I also wanted to support my colleagues and to find ways to work smart and efficiently to make teaching something that's a sustainable career that meets the needs of all the people involved. And that's truly where my heart is today. And that's why I continue to be a principal.
Fantastic. And Beckie has been the principal of Wilkesboro Elementary since 2019. She has been praised for her instructional and organizational leadership. And actually, she's the first principal from Wilkes County in 40 years to be recognized as North Carolina Principal of the Year. And is it true that Principal Irwin was your principal? Is that true?
Yes, Dr. Alexander Irwin, who was the first North Carolina Principal of the Year, was my high school principal. And the thing that I will always remember about him is he told us, no matter where you are, people will see you as part of us. People will see you as a representative of Wilkes Central High School. And when they see your name, they'll be thinking of our name. And that has really stuck with me. And it's something that I've carried with pride and tried to instill in my schools as well.
Boy, have you made a name for yourself, and you certainly make Wilkes County very proud. What questions do we have for Beckie?
I would love to start because I live in Wilkes County, if that's okay. So, Beckie, I read the article in Ed NC, and there was a statement about you. It was about your announcement and that day. And congratulations again. That's such a wonderful achievement. And I'm so proud that we're in the same county. It's really exciting. But I think what I would like to highlight for you, and I'd like for you to talk about a little bit with our viewers, is the statement that you made that your school is a love letter to public education. That took my breath because I'm such a public education advocate and believe in public ed, and that it being the thread that runs so true, if you will, from the old book. So tell me a little bit about what makes your school a love letter to public education.
That's a great question. And I've been saying, we say that often, that it's a love letter to public education, because what we do with love. And love is an action word. It's showing up with high expectations for everyone. It's showing up and meeting people where they are and seeing the supports that they need to get to where they can become. And it's also investing in a community in a way that helps them see something beyond where they are. In order for them to have it in their hands, they have to be able to see it in their mind and feel it in their heart. And so we approach, and it is hard work being a public educator. And we do that as an act of love. It's through the everyday greetings that our bus drivers give to our students, the way our staff greets people getting out of the car. It's, hey, I'm glad you're here. We're glad to see you. Come on in, let's get started. And as teachers work with students, they also holding them high, having those high expectations for them means, hey, I care about you and I'm here to help you see this future, help you realize that dream you have, or maybe even to nurture it and get started. So it's that investment of time and energy and faith and belief in other people that we collectively share. And we share that with our families. And I think that is what makes us successful, and it's what makes it a loving place to be. People who visit our school tell me often that it feels different, and I'm hoping what they feel when they're there is that sense of belonging, that we're glad you're here and we can do hard things together, and we do, and we celebrate it when we do. And so those things are what we work hard at to create, because I've said it often, children only get one childhood. And it is our privilege to be part of that with families, but it is also a great responsibility to show up and give their children the best education that they can have. And so we take a lot of pride in that. And our staff and our students and our families, they are what make the magic happen. I am just there to witness it all and to tell their story.
Thank you for that. I would just like to follow up by saying I hear the passion in your voice, and I can just tell that you really want to support each and every person, each and every stakeholder in that school and in your community. And for that, I'm truly grateful. I wish you would write a love letter to public education and put it out there so that everyone in North Carolina could see all of the good things that we do as public educators. And you certainly are a representative of that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Tanya. That's a great idea. I will put that on my list of things to do.
And I've read some of Beckie's writing samples. She is a very strong writer. That is one of your strengths.
Thank you. That's that Meredith College English degree in action.
That's right.
Well,
So I'll piggyback. Oh, go ahead and say.
Are you sure?
No, go ahead. Yes.
Well, I was going to say too, you definitely should write for EdNC. I'm sure they would love to have a love letter from you to public education. I just wanted to throw that in. But also, once again, congratulations on being named the North Carolina Principal of the Year. That is absolutely phenomenal. And while reading both the EdNC article and the other article, it was very interesting that it talked about how your school exceeded growth. And it mentioned that in both articles, but it also talks about your passion for your community. And you constantly are bringing up that love that you have for your community and for the kids, and that you guys get to take part in the miracle of the kids' their childhood. So how do you find that balance as a principal, being able to exceed expectations in testing, but also in community, that you find strengths there? How do you find that balance as a principal?
Well, I think very much one feeds the other. I need to start out by saying literacy is the greatest equity driver that there is. And so learning to read and write well is not only what we do in elementary school, it is what we must do. If we want our students to become educated, engaged citizens, they have to be able to read, write, speak, listen. Those skills are so foundational that, we take seriously that belief. And so I guess the way that we find what you called the balance is that we take very much a whole child approach. There are all types of learners in this world, and there are all types of children who come from all kinds of backgrounds. And it is not like a recipe or a formula that you program to spit out success or not. So what we try to do is to see each student as an individual and to find out what their strengths are and what their needs are. And one of our abilities to do that is we have a very strong student services team. Our school counselor, the social worker, the nurse works closely with classroom teachers and with parents to make sure that all of those needs are being met. We also have taken a great interest in neurodivergent children and finding ways to help those students access educational environments. And also our multi-language learners, we're trying to support them and provide what they need in the classroom while having high expectations for them. The truth is, many parents did not have a positive experience in school. And it takes a reaching out to the community in a non-judgmental, open way, and inviting them in as partners to really make that shift happen for a lot of children. And our schools in arms, we've changed some of our practices to make it so we are more invitational. We start each year with an individual family conference with the teacher and the family and the child sitting down to meet each other instead of the kind of massive drop-in open houses that we used to do. And we have found that that has opened the conversation just so that we can all, hear each other and see each other. And that communication network is one that builds. I also believe that you have to look at your team of educators and let them do what they do well. And our teachers, they have strengths, and I try to empower them with the resources they need and to remove the barriers. That is my job. And so by trusting them and using data to follow those things, we are able to achieve that kind of balance and harmony. But it's a lot of hard work by every single person that it's involved. But there's a lot at stake, so it's absolutely worth it.
Thank you so much. And to follow up with that, what advice would you give to a new principal or someone maybe considering one day to be a principal?
And well, I think the best advice I would give is to know who you are and be that person. Authenticity, I think, is very important. And, and that can only exist in a culture where belonging is valued and where everyone brings that value and sees that. So knowing what your core values are is very important, and not trying to be like someone else. I think that's true for teachers as well. Trusting that the gifts that you have and the strengths that you have are the things you should lean into. And so I would give that advice to a new administrator. I would also advise them to get where the magic happens, but that's in classrooms, visit often. Be in the cafeteria, be on the car line, be where your people are, and listen and watch and learn from them. Because who they are depends on what you need to offer and provide for them. And so that's, young administrators, we have urgency, we have goals to meet. There's a big to-do list and a lot to do. And it's easy to rush that part or to skip that part. And so I think those are the two most important things to remember.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again. Since you are a fellow English teacher, so I taught fifth grade ELA forever. That was my baby. So teaching kids to read and love to read. I have to ask this: what was your favorite book to teach or read with students?
Oh, wow. Well,
I know that's a hard one. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. There's so many that I love. One that is close to my heart is Bridge to Terabithia. And I remember reading that with a fifth grade class, and it rained for a solid week when we finished that. And one of my students was tearful, and he was this big baseball player, athletic, I don't want to read a book kind of kid. And tears flowing down his eyes. And he's like, it's a good book. I wouldn't say much else. And I will always remember that. And I really, when I was in the classroom, I spent most of my years teaching second grade, and I really loved thematic units where we read different things. And we read The Story of Ruby Bridges is one that I cherished teaching with them. Our students, this year we have a new ELA curriculum, and they also read that same text this year. But that is one that I remember having really good questions, and we read several other books and looked at some art and some music at the same time. And, children are just beautiful slates of people. And so seeing the world through their eyes is such an honor. And so being a teacher of children as they read and write, it's just a privilege unlike any other.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm glad Natalia asked you the question about new administrators, because I'm finishing up my first year as an assistant principal. So I'm glad she stole my question, but she asked it. What is a way, or how do you think that you really kind of close out the school year, but also get ready for the next, and kind of prepare yourself for that and figure out like where you need to be and where you want your people to be? How do you get to that closing out and starting?
Gosh, Amy, that's a great question. And congratulations to you. finishing up your first year as an assistant principal. There is no trial like that fire, I would say. So congratulations. I love the rituals of the school year, the starting, the ending. And when you've been at it for a while, those become like your biorhythms too. But I think the biggest thing is to take a moment to own the learning that has happened, to celebrate the community that you've created, taking time to pause and, honor that. It's really important. We have awards days coming up this week, and our teachers do classroom awards where they celebrate each person for something special, and where they reflect and look back on the year to see what were our favorite times. And our creative teachers do the most beautiful things with their students. But to kind of write that into the memory of the class, because once that class, goes apart and becomes a new class the next year, it becomes something different. So taking time to honor and celebrate, I think, is very, very important. I also think it's very important to create some fun rituals. Last week, the high school graduates came back and they walked our hallways in their caps and gowns. It happens every year, and I absolutely adore it. We put up their kindergarten pictures so they can see who they were.
Oh.
And they also talk to our fifth graders, and some of what they tell them is about the joys ahead in high school. They tell them about their futures, and then they always tell them about their memories and the things that they remembered. So I think it's very important to save space and time for fun. On Friday, we have our annual field day that involves a water slide in the fire department and old-fashioned field day events and snow cones and things like that. And sometimes in the rush of the school year, it's easy to not have time for that or make time for that. But nearly every one of those high school graduates mentioned it as something that they remembered. And we're fortunate because they volunteer to come back and help us with it. So it's just one of those traditions that's in the community that everybody's invested in, that is special, that says this year was worth celebrating. So we take time for that. I also think it's important for teachers before they get gone for the summer to have both informal and formal reflection time for themselves as individual educators, but also for their PLC groups and then for our larger school. The reflection that they provide, in addition to looking at our data, our academic data, and reflecting on the academic data as well, and the cultural data and the Title I parent survey, and all of those pieces, our teacher working condition survey. It's best to do that right now while it's fresh in this last month of school, so that we can take that meaningful learning opportunity that this year's data provides and begin the hard work for next year. So we are deep into that. A seasoned administrator knows you start that April 1st. You can't wait till the last week when everyone's super tired. So we've been at that for a few weeks. But the goal is to get as much of that reflection done. So when we sit down to work on our school improvement plan for next year and to allocate resources and to bring new people to the team, we are doing that with intention. And what is it that we've learned from this year that will help us go forward?
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of that. And again, congratulations. I hope you have a great summer and closing out your school year and beginning a great new one.
Thank you. Same to you, Amy.
So, Beckie, as you really embark on this new adventure as the Wells Fargo North Carolina Principal of the Year, what are you most looking forward to?
I am most looking forward to sharing our school story and also hearing all the other stories out there. There are so many amazing things going on in schools, in public schools around North Carolina. Nancy was telling me Thursday night that her students have built an airplane. That blows my mind. And that is, I'm one county over from her. Should I know that? I should. But that is the kind of things. There are so many amazing things going on in our schools, and people don't know. And I don't think it's because we're not telling them, but just sharing them gives other people belief. And I believe it is through telling our stories and sharing those stories that we have the opportunity to get more support for our profession and for public schools and for public school students. And so I'm hoping to learn a whole lot from the people that I meet and be able to share their stories, and also to share those stories in the places where many decisions are made that impact public schools and public school educators and students.
Fantastic. And as you serve as the ambassador for principals in public schools, we certainly hope that you'll come back on our program and tell us about some of the great things that you're seeing out in the field. And you certainly have an open invitation to come by Craven Early College High School. I would love for you to come to our learning community and see some of the things that we're working on, because we would love to host you on our campus.
Well, thank you. I will definitely make that trip. I would love to visit there and in many great schools. Thank you for having me. This has just been a joy to talk with you guys tonight.
Our pleasure. We're so happy that we had this opportunity. We're so excited for you and excited for our state. We would like to thank our audience so very much for watching this program. We hope that you will engage us on our social media platforms. Please like our Facebook page. Please follow us on Twitter at Tar Heel Teachers. Please visit our website, tarheelteachers.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And on all of our social media platforms, please use our hashtag Tar Heel Teachers so we can find all of your great comments. We'd like to thank our wonderful panel for joining us for this conversation: Amy Tart, Natalia Mejia, and Tanya Smith. And once again, we'd like to thank our special guest for joining us, Beckie Spears, the 2024 Wells Fargo, North Carolina Principal of the Year. She's fantastic. Principal of Wilkesboro Elementary School. We look forward to seeing you next time on Tar Heel Teachers at Home.